What's up YouTube and Twitch? Demi here with another budget build guide. This is for 3.0. This is a low-life lightning trap Saboteur. It does not need to be low-life. You can obviously just take off shavs and go CI very easily. But this is on a 5-link shavs with budget gear. I'm using a Heartbreaker, a Rainbow Strides, an Eye of Chayula, and then just like relatively shit ES gear. So like this is a 5-link. No expensive unique flask. We're using the Wise Oak flask. That's about it. This is a T10 shape map. So obviously there's a much room in your gear choices. I'm not using any jewels either. I took out all of my jewels for this, just so you can see the like starting potential. You don't need anything expensive for this, but like it doesn't rely on Volpact. It doesn't rely on having extremely high ES. It's just lightning damage with lightning pen. So we're not worried about any nerfs in 3.0. The skill tree is effectively the same in 3.0 as it is in 2.6, so that'll be great. But it's a great starter because you get lightning trap very early on. Like I think it's like level 6 or something. You can just keep using that forever. You get chain reaction out of your what lab is that? Chain reaction is Saboteur. You get out of Cruel Lab. Once you have that, you're basically good to go for the rest of the game. The other two Ascendancies don't really matter that much. But yeah, it's crit based. Your your power charge generation is automatic. Whenever your traps are triggered, you have a chance to gain a power charge and a chance to gain a frenzy charge from just the skill tree. So I'm not using Skyforce or anything like that. My stun immunity is an Eye of Chayula. And the damage is pretty good for the shit gear I'm wearing and not having any jewels. I think the only piece of gear that I'm wearing that's like really expensive would probably be my shield, but you don't need that. Let's just kill these guys real quick. There you go. So there's your general T10 mapping demonstration. You can obviously push a lot higher. This is on a 5-link with very bad gear. If you pushed with better gear, you could do way higher tier maps. Oh, is this good? Almost. Alright, so Ascendancy, Saboteur. This is your normal Ascendancy. You get 2 additional... Sorry, you get damage per trap. So we have a lot of traps, and you have a chance for your traps to trigger an additional time, which is great. And then you get chain reaction, which is like basically the only important Ascendancy here. When your traps trigger, your nearby traps also trigger. So we're using cluster trap, which means we throw 4 traps. If any of these trigger, they all trigger. So if we have 11 of them down, which is the maximum I can lay, and any of these are triggered, they will all explode and deal a shitload of damage. So that's it. That's the build right there. Just chain reaction. The other 2 Ascendancies for Uber Lab, you would grab. For Merciless Lab, you grab Explosive Expert. Basically gives you 10% LE pen, a little bit LE damage here, and then if you go to Uber Lab, which you definitely do not need, it's trash because it's just cannot be blinded, which doesn't matter. We're not an attack-based build, and then you have chance to blind enemies on hit and chance to create a smoke cloud when hit. Both really bad, but they don't really like. There's no other option. These are shit because they're mines. Like you just take this. It's a little bit extra layer of defense. Blinding enemies is great. Whatever. Skill tree wise. This is for the low life tree. If you were doing a life-based version or a CI-based version, it's a little bit different, but you can transfer that pretty quickly into all of the relevant life nodes. But so you start out here, go down and grab your projectile damage, reduced reservation stuff here, crit multi. This is what gives you your frenzy charge generation. 15% chance to get a frenzy charge when your trap is triggered, and you get 2 additional traps. And these are just like trap throwing speed, trap damage, jewel sockets, your trap cluster here. This is really important. Clever construction. Traps cannot be damaged for 5 seconds after being thrown. So you throw your traps and you have 5 seconds of immunity so the enemies can't accidentally kill them and destroy your traps. 5 seconds is infinite amount of time for us. As long as it's like, if it was like 1 second, that'd be enough because we generally just throw traps on top of enemies and they explode and then chain react and kill the rest. And then these side gives you 10% LE pen along with some more trap damage and trap AoE trigger effect, whatever. Grab your jewel socket, your power charges. This is crit multi for spells because we are a crit build without any like jewels or anything, I'm at 400% multi and 45% crit strike chance. And I have 6 power charges, so this goes up to like 70% crit with a diamond flask, which means 70% twice, which is more or less 90% chance to crit, maybe more. ES, trap cooldown recovery speed, trap damage, reduced reservation here. Lightning damage, lightning air, crit multi. ES, if you have an energy from within, you can put it here. I'm not using one right now. More spell damage on low life, crit multi. This is our power charge generation here, and crit multi. So you have 15% chance to gain a power charge when your trap is triggered. Great. Go into the Witch Supercluster here for Arcane Focus. Get a bunch of ES here. Flask nodes, power charge, jewel socket, crit multi with spells. And then we come down into this area for more trap and mine damage, crit multi here, and then some proj speed and proj damage. Because lightning trap is tagged with projectile, trap, spell, duration, and lightning. So all of those things work. I'm not sure why it has a duration tag. I guess because traps have an implicit duration, whatever. It's weird. So there's your skill tree. Gear-wise, this is the budget gear, right? I'm using a Heartbreaker Royal Scheme. This is approximately an alch. It's kind of shit, but it gives you spell damage, global crit, and it gives you energy shield, faster start of energy shield recharge, which is really nice since we can't leech. Energy recharge is when your ES actually starts recharging. This makes it start faster, which is nice. You also have Culling Strike on your spells, which I mean, is 10% more damage. You don't have to deal the last 10% of the damage, they just die. What other required stuff is there? You need some sort of stun immunity. So I'm using Eye of Chula because it's a guaranteed immunity to stun. If you can also use a Valyrium Ring, which gives you your chance to stun is based off your energy shield instead of life. So that's pretty good. Other than that, everything else is just ES gear. I'm wearing Rainbow Strides because it's an all-res pair of boots with movement speed and decent ES. These are usually like 1 to 2 chaos, whatever. Belt, get some ES. Gloves, get some ES resist. Stats if you need them. Dex, I have strength here. Shield, you want to try to get spell crit if possible. This is a pretty damn good shield. You do not need this. If you just have ES on your shield, that's fine, but if you can prioritize spell damage, spell crit, that's great. Helm, ES resist. Chest piece, if you're going low life, wear a Shaz. If you're going ES CI base, just wear a decent ES chest piece, like 500, 600 ES is fine. Rings, I'm using 2 unsets because I'm lazy, and I like having a portal gem here. This could obviously be here, and I wouldn't need this unset at all. But rings, you just want stats and resists. For damage, you can go for either opal rings or diamond rings to help guarantee your crit. I think opal rings would be better in that case. But just look for ES and stats res, lightning damage if you want to use essences. I don't remember what the lightning damage essence is, but you can use that. Yeah, flasks, you're using Wise Oak. This gives us 26% lightning penetration if your lightning res is highest with alchemist nodes. I'm sitting at 183 lightning res, and then 228, still my highest res lightning res here. So this gives me 26% lightning pen on my lightning skill. So with that flask up and with my passive stuff, I have 93% lightning pen, which is pretty good. I could potentially get a little bit more, but I don't think it's worth going up into these to get 3% pen. Your link setup. So in order of priority, we have Lightning Trap, linked with Pierce, and then you get increased crits, Lightning Pen. Alright, sorry. Let me think about this again. Cluster Traps is better. Cluster Traps, Pierce, and then increased crits, Lightning Pen. For your 6 link, if you can get a 6 link, you use Trap and Mine damage. So it's 3 green, 3 blue. Not super hard to get off color-wise. You just roll 2 green until you have an extra one. Forgot to go on D&D. Other links, aura setups. If you are going CI, just use Discipline Wrath. If you're going low life, you have an additional set of auras, reservation stuff you can do, which I'm using Clarity, Enfeeble, Blasphemy on life. So that gets me below the 35% I think it is for low life. For the more spell damage, but you don't need that, it's just nice. And then other links, we have our Cast Damage Taken setup, which is Cast Damage Taken, Immortal Call, Arctic Breath, and Greater Multiple Projectiles. This gives you a little bit of Fizz immunity for a short duration against like porcupines or whatever. And then Arctic Breath GMP is a chilling ground effect, so it chills a pretty large area around us, which is good defensively. Slows enemies down, keeps them from killing you. And then I have my Shield Charge Fortify Faster Attack setup. That can be in your dagger or wherever you want it. It gives you Fortify, which is less damage taken from hits. Great defensive layer. What else we got? I have a Flame Dash faster casting setup. You don't need that. It's just if you want to go up and down ledges. And then I have All Discipline increased duration. This is our life pot. This is our panic button. Your oh shit button. I'm gonna die to ignite or something. Just turn this on. It lasts about 5 seconds and it makes your energy shield recharge that whole time. So my recharge rate is, where is it? 2,000 per second. So when I have All Discipline up, I will recharge at that rate, which is a pretty good life pot. Let's go over some jewels you could potentially use, or upgrades if you want to push this harder. Instead of this dagger, you could go for a really, really good dagger like this, which is spell damage, add damage to spells, crit strike chance for spells, crit multi. That's like perfect best in slot. With higher rolls, this would be really, really good. It also has +1 socketed gems, so that your Wrath and Discipline could potentially go up another level, but again, not needed. And then if you want to use different boots, you could use Death's Doors. That frees up a Bleed Flask. Or you could just use high ES pair of boots. Probably high ES boots would be better than this, because you could get way more effective HP. And then jewels. These are all like fairly good examples of jewels that you could use. So Energy Within would go here. Converts your melding life into energy shield. And then your damage stuff that works for lightning trap is projectile damage, trap damage, spell damage while holding a shield. Crit multi with spells, crit multi with lightning, crit multi with elemental. Energy shield is nice, stats and resistances if you need them. So mine look kind of like this. These are usually, I think these are all triple damage. This is trap damage, lightning damage, crit multi for spells, which is great. Trap damage, global crit multi with LES. That's like perfect 4-prop for us. And then I have some other decent 3-props. This one is lightning damage, crit multi with LE. ES, and then fire res. I don't need the fire res, but it's basically 2 damage plus ES. This one is trap damage, spell damage while holding a shield, crit multi for spells, and area damage. Area damage does nothing because this is not an area spell, but still triple damage. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can get on jewels to give this build damage, so like you'll be fine with random 3-prop damage jewels or 2-prop damage jewels with ES. But yeah, it's got a lot of room for min-maxing damage. And the potential damage with like everything up is pretty dumb with that level of lightning pen. This is without power charges. I'm at 18k. So yeah, it scales pretty well. But it's a pretty good budget starter. And it obviously scales very well into endgame as well. But this has been a quick and dirty guide. I'll have a skill tree in the description. We'll show you the 3.0 skill tree. This is the 2.6 skill tree, which we just looked at, and this is the 3.0 skill tree. The only difference is this line right here is changed. Otherwise, it's the same. So, no issues there. You just have to like repath through here slightly. I think you lose a little bit of ES, but it just looks different. It's the same tree. Everything else is exactly the same.